The man who broke the story, who has the inside running on this, is Nine's football chief in Tom Morris. Congratulations, Tom. I know the media awards are tonight. It doesn't qualify, but you should get it anyway. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, it was an amazing story the way it came out. You broke the story moments after it was a press conference at Hawthorn. Let's get into it, because there's actually been a late twist tonight, only in the last hour or so.
Yeah.
Take us through what's going on now as Essendon come back at Merrett.
Yeah, so our goal tonight is to take you forward on this Zach Merrett discussion.
Yeah.
We've looked backwards enough now. Where's it going from here? So what I can tell you tonight is that in recent days, the CEO of the Essendon Football Club, Craig Vozzo, and the coach, Brad Scott, reached out to Zach Merrett separately via text. Now, why? I'm not sure. I assume it's to have some empathy for their captain, but there has been contact, first from Craig Vozzo, and in the last 24 to 48 hours, Brad Scott via text to Zach Merrett, just asking how he is and making sure that he's going okay. And I can tell you, I don't think he is going okay. It's been a terrible week for everyone involved in Essendon Football Club, whether you're player, official, coach and fan.
OK, so let's just go through that. So, first of all, is it a mess of his own making by having dinner with Sam Mitchell in the first place, and then the story coming out? I'm not going to ask you who your sources were, obviously, but it comes out in that situation. So why would they be talking to each other? I mean, has this not just had the axe right through the club?
Well, what it tells me, Hurdy, I'd love your thoughts as well, is that there's still clearly some sort of olive branch that Essendon, via their senior leaders, are wanting to extend to Zach Merrett, just in case he does decide to change his mind, and if he does end up going back into the club next year.
And so there should be. I mean, this guy's a guy who's going to win his 6th best and fairest. He's played there 12 years. It'll be 6th best and fairest. He's done so much for that club. But as an Essendon person, you know, all I want is the best for Essendon. I would love to see Zach and the club make up and go back together. What is disappointing, though, is what has come out. You know, the negative stuff that's come out about Zach. I've coached the guy. He's a wonderful person, a person of high integrity, who's worked his backside off to the ultimate. He's the hardest worker I've coached at any level. And some of the stuff that's come out negatively about him, some of the rubbish, I just think the club and he have to come together so that sort of stuff doesn't come out again, because it's not good for either party.
So the captaincy isn't just a token, though. So everything you just mentioned there, like the on-field leadership, the standards he's set, there's also an element of, like, if you're not happy with the way the culture's going and what the standards are, has he challenged enough upwards and challenged the coaches and challenged the high-performance team?
We caught up as a group of ex-captains with Zach probably 3 or 4 months ago. We did it for a reason that we actually wanted to help. We just thought...
So just before that, so that was you, Dyson Heppel, Matthew Lloyd and Joe Watson.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's been criticised in some quarters.
Oh, well, Caroline Wilson criticised it.
The club didn't like that, though.
But why not? Anyway, we won't go into it. But anyway, we caught up to actually try and help. You know, let's try and help and give him some advice on things that we didn't do, whatever. And we asked him that question. Like, what are you doing as the captain? And the things he spoke about was, you know, in terms of leadership, in relationships, but also the work ethic and the extra sessions he was doing with players. I've got no doubt that Zach has pushed the envelope as far as he thinks he can to drive the standards as high as he possibly can at the club. So when you say, what has he done? In my impression and what I've been told is he's gone to the utmost to do whatever he could to bring the highest level of professionalism to that club. So,
Hurdy, can I ask you, just before we go back into the intricacies of Zach Merrett, is this indicative of just how split the Essendon Football Club continues to be? There's the new guys, there's old guys, there's people behind the scenes talking about whether they should roll David Barham and should he be sending letters to the Commission. That's just the day-to-day running of a football club. Is Brad Scott liked? Does the captain not like the coach? You've had Redmond come out and have a crack.
We'll get to that in a moment.
We'll get to that in a few moments' time. I mean, it just seems to be a horrible mess out there at the moment. As an elder statesman of the club, when you see all this happening in front of you, last week you said Zach Merrett cannot leave this club.
And I still believe that.
But he's in the Uber, he's already gone.
Yeah, he may be, but I think if I was Essendon, if I was at Essendon now, I'd be still reaching out to try and bring him in. He is an Essendon person. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. In terms of Brad Scott, he's got another 2 years in his contract, and David Barham has sat there and backed him all the way. What they should be doing is try and work out how they perform the best of their ability next year, not having these internal, external fights which end up in the media.
Well, I think, and getting them together at the moment too is helpful, because they've got the BNF coming up, and you would love to see him at the BNF accept his award. It's going to be...
It'll be a circus regardless.
OK, but let's not be Pollyanna about this. I mean, Zach did get the message out because he wants to go. He met with his management group before the end of the season. And I'm not having a crack at him about this because he's been promised the world and delivered an Atlas.
Well,
look at it, don't forget, he's going to win the best and fairest. He's sixth best and fairest, so he's delivered on his part of the deal. But let's go through.
Can I just go to best and fairest, though? On best and fairest, if he wins his sixth and his seventh, he's up there with Bill Hutchison and Dick Reynolds, the two greatest players, along with John Coleman, who have played at that club. If he wins an eighth, right, that's the most anyone's won at Essendon. That's legendary status. What he's saying, in my mind, is I don't want to do that. I want to go and play in a successful team. There must be something going on for him to take away legendary status and then to go somewhere else. And that's what I don't know.
Do you have an insight at all?
I don't have an insight.
Do you have an insight?
No, I don't know whether he's going to go to the best and fairest. I know it's been a talking point behind the scenes.
Now, what's the insight into what's really got on his goat? Why, after all this...
So my information is, and Tom Petroro spoke about this with Sam Edmund on radio, that Merritt doesn't believe this is a high-performance environment that gives him the best chance to be in a successful team.
Whose fault's that? Because if that's true, then the board, the CEO and the coach have to sit down and provide that high-performance environment. If he doesn't believe it, either if it's not there or he doesn't think it's there, how do they provide that environment to give it to not just for him, but every player at the football club?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on how they do it because I haven't been inside a football club like that. But what I can tell you, though, is that is the concern, and it's been a concern for a number of years now.
Well, in 2021, 22, he was pitched this whole philosophy and idea of, like, this is the direction we're heading in the Essendon Group, and then 3 or 4 years later, he gets pitched the same thing again. I can sense why there's frustration there.
OK, let me move it on. It's been an incredible couple of weeks with leaking and strategic placement of stories in media and media getting involved in barracking for stories. So let's go to one that came out the other night about a alleged fracas that happened between Zach Merrett and the AFLW part of the Essendon Football Club, promulgated again by Caroline Wilson.
Yeah, so let me... Yeah.
So, what's the story?
I can tell you what happened here tonight. So this is an interaction. It's nothing more between Merritt and 4 of his teammates, male teammates, and some AFLW players and their coach at the time, Ben Brown. It happened in mid-July.
OK, so what happened?
What happened was that the AFLW players were doing some craft, some technical work to the side.
Well, is this on the oval?
This is the inside part of the hangar.
Inside, OK.
In the other forward pocket of the hangar, inside, because it's inside oval, Zach Merrett and 4 of his teammates and a coach there as well were doing some goal kicking. Now, Ben Brown walked over to them. It's such a non-issue. It's ridiculous to say, but he walked over to them and he said, can you guys just move 10 or 20 metres to your left? They did so, and that was it. Now, a few days later, Aisha Ward, who's the AFLW football boss, had a discussion with Zach Merrett and just reaffirmed how important it was that the two programs work together. And what this has shined a light on is that issue in particular is nothing. But what it has really brought to the surface in my investigations today is just how disenfranchised the AFLW component of the club feels with the men's football department. And this is about facilities like the gym, the oval, the hangar. It's about where they eat lunch. And this goes right to the leadership. This is Brad Scott, this is Craig Vosso, this is Dan McPherson, and they feel it's entirely different from what it was under Ben Rutten and Josh Marnie, and that's an issue for the girls. Okay. It's become a bigger issue this year.
So the simple, straight to the point there is that the women felt slighted, that Merrett and the other players came on as having...
To be honest, I actually don't know...
kicks a goal. I'm reading between the lines.
Yeah, I don't think they felt slighted in that instance.
Well, they must have, because they've complained.
No, I'm not sure they did complain.
Or somebody complained.
Yeah,
somebody felt slighted.
Somebody felt slighted, but the bigger issue is the way that the club treats the women versus the men.
Right, OK, so when was that?
That was mid-July.
OK, so mid-July. So somebody's waited till mid-September to leak that, to really make Zach Merrett look bad and leak it through Caroline Wilson, obviously a senior woman, or the most senior woman journalist around the place, and it was leaked out last night. It sounded like there was something more sinister to it. Now, that could be a misunderstanding.
It was a character assassination, and there's no doubt that Zach Merrett was filthy, and Jay Clark wrote this, was filthy with the reporting of that story.
I your question.
Yeah.
You say there's the Melbourne Football Club leaks.
Yeah.
And you said to me the Essendon Football Club is the worst leaguing club in the AFL.
Yeah, well, it has. It's been factionalised since the supplement saga. People took sides in newspapers. You were right up, caught up in it all. When it gets to that, when people are leaking from within your club, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. When people are saying things, particularly if they're not right. So in that situation, if Zach Merrett goes, where does that come from? I've been captain of the club. I'm on 6th best and fairest. I go out every week and do everything, and I'm getting done for something because I was doing extras at training, and I wasn't...
Just a quick one.
That's when you go.
When you were president of Collingwood, how did you stop that?
Well, we had one period, I think, when there was leaks coming out, and you had to go and exterminate the place.
Yeah, just can we
You had
have,
to go make hard on it.
Can I just make one more quick point on
But
this?
you can never stop it, by the way.
So credit to Essendon. I spoke to them tonight. They acknowledge that there is tension between the two programs when they cross over.
Right.
This is definitely something that the CEO and the rest of the hierarchy need to deal with because it's been festering for a while now. Now, the other point on Zach Merrett before we go, Eddie, is that Essendon, I believe, have either just offered or are about to offer more money for him for the next 2 years.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Talk about burying the lead.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get to
I'm
it.
going to quote Luke Darcy. Say that again. Tell me, give it to me again. Essendon are coming back with a revised offer on a contract that's still got 2 years to
For
run.
2026...
That's a big olive branch.
Yeah, well, there's 2 points here. For 2026 to 2027, I believe it will be somewhere around the $700,000 mark across 2 years. That's 350 times 2, and it won't change what Zach Merrett is thinking, and that is that he wants
So at the moment he's getting paid roughly around 700.
About 850. At the moment.
850. So this would take him up to about 1.2.
Yeah.
For the next 2 years. So a top up for let's bring everything together. Yeah. And you reckon he's going to turn his back on that as the captain of the Essendon football?
Well, I've said the whole way through, and Tom Petroro said it as well, it's not about money.
Well, and he turned down a fair bit of money last year too, turning down an offer from
He
St
turned
Kilda,
down 1.6 to join St Kilda. So this is about what we spoke about before, Eddie.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So at least Essendon are having a bit of a go there. But
I'm not critical of that. Yeah,
but as the great Sam Newman or Lou Richards would say, it's a bit like throwing cream puffs at the town hall. It's not going to make a difference, is it?
Yeah.
It's interesting with the whole Sam Mitchell side of things because we got a call from Peter Lenton, Sam Mitchell's agent, back in, I think, 2011, 2012, saying that Sam Mitchell wants to come to Essendon, which was, we were quite shocked. We rang Graham Wright, or Adrian Dyer rang Graham Wright at the Hawthorn Football Club. We wanted to do a trade for Sam Mitchell. He said, no way. I think Sam Mitchell was signed up within 2 weeks. So there's some... No, everyone thinks that Essendon players can't go to Hawthorn, but we almost got a Hawthorn player to come to Essendon.
A pretty good Hawthorn player
That's
too.
amazing.
Very good Hawthorn player.
Very similar situation, though, for both those players, aren't they? They're uncompromising and great players and midfielders. And you can imagine Sam sitting down with Zach saying, brother, I share your pain. Yeah. Come over with us, we'll look after you.
It hasn't been lost on people at Hawthorn that Mitchell and Merrett are not too dissimilar in the way they go about the game, ultra-professional and driven and ambitious. Quick one, Eddie, again, on Mason Redman. So Mason Redman, about a week ago, said that he was disappointed in Zach Merrett exploring a move to other clubs. That was an article with the AFL website, I think Cal Toomey. So that was 5 days ago. Now, we can tell you tonight that Redmond's manager was at the very least having open dialogue with at least 3 clubs this year, and at most actually shopping him around and even using him as possible trade bait for Mason Redman at the end of the year, who's got 2 years remaining on a contract. So, I mean, I don't think he was necessarily going to clubs saying Mason Redman is desperate to get out, but his name was being mentioned to the 2 South Australian clubs and another one about the possibility of a move because he was disgruntled.
Does Mason Redman know this? Would he have known this?
That's the question.
Because if he hadn't known it and then said that, I can't believe him.
Yeah, I can't say that for sure.
Just one quick one. It doesn't matter. Everyone else seems to do it. Jai Simpkin.
Yeah.
Is this true? He's getting paid $1 million a year and he wants to leave North Melbourne as captain because he wants to spend more time in the midfield.
Yeah, he's desperate to play midfield. He played on the wing and half forward
more this year.
year.
North Melbourne. He doesn't play anywhere, mate.
4 years remaining on a deal. He's yet to request a trade. North Melbourne's position is he's not going anywhere. But so Merrett is on his way out. Allen's gone. Jai Simpkin is thinking about going. His manager's testing the water. And Jack Steele, I wouldn't rule that out either, even though nothing has actually officially happened.
Since when has it become okay for captains just to leave footy clubs? Well, I thought once you're a captain, and this may come down to is all these clubs making the right choices in picking their captains, because it's not just about on-field performance. There's so much more that goes into it off-field, about challenging coaches, sitting down with coaches, understanding game plan, and setting the right environment for your footy club.
You're outdated. You've been retired for 1 year. You're suddenly outdated.
Tell you what they have to change is the clubs are going to get back into it and be able to transfer players. If that's the case, there's got to be a quid pro quo. At the moment, it's gone too far. The AFLPA and the AFL and the managers have taken over the game, and it will be no good because I tell you what it's going to do, it's going to drive the fans away.
Trade without
you know what it does do? The best clubs with the best programs attract the best players. And that has happened more and more, and that's why those 4 teams in the top 4
and in the meantime,
continue to be there.
Compromise the draft completely, which is the antidote to that, and you end up with what we have is a 2-tier competition.
Trade without consent. We said it the other week on this show.
Needs to be a minimum salary, though.
Take